Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Hope you guys are all having a great day. I am jumping on a little bit earlier than normal, but that is because we have had some fantastic news coming out this morning that Newcastle United's 19-year-old super talent Elliot Anderson has now signed a new long-term deal with the club, a new long-term contract confirming his future at the club, and it is brilliant news. It's brilliant news for Elliot Anderson, for the club, for the fans. To see a local lad getting his breakthrough is tremendous. Let me know your thoughts on Elliot Anderson's new long-term contract down in the comments below. I want to talk about Elliot Anderson, Eddie Howe, and Dan Ashworth's involvement in all of this as well. It has not been confirmed exactly how long this long-term contract is. I imagine it's 4, quite probably 5 years for Elliot Anderson on this one. And his old contract, if I'm not mistaken, still had 2 years left. He was still booked until 2024. So we've gone in, we've renewed it, we've given him a longer deal, and I can see exactly why. Because he is a fantastic talent, and at the age of 19, we want to lock him down. We don't want him going anywhere else. And as I say, it's great news. Elliot Anderson said that there is no decision. It's Newcastle or nothing, and no doubt he is very happy with getting this new long-term deal. And just think, he was on loan last season. There was question marks over whether he may feature this season. Could he go on loan to a championship side? Eddie Howe kept everything very close to his chest as well. He didn't really want to say what was going to happen. Fast forward to now, I want him in the first team. I want him playing more often. And he has. Well, he really did prove himself in the pre-season. That's why he was kept on for the start of this season. And I was going to say, signed up to the squad. He's part of the squad, but we don't have to register him, because he's only 19 years old. So that's another benefit. We've got this young, fantastic talent coming through, and he's not even taking up a space in the squad. He's an extra player. And as I say, going from coming in at pre-season, will he be involved, will he not, to now, I want to see him involved even more. And that's why I say it is not a surprise we have gone out there and given him this new long-term deal. Anderson said that he's really happy. I love playing for Newcastle United, and committing my future to the club is something I wanted to do. It was my aim coming back into pre-season to work hard and earn the opportunity to stick around. I have really enjoyed being with the first team group, so hopefully I can keep improving and contribute to the team. So that's exactly what I've just said there. He has done exactly that. He really did prove himself in the pre-season, and as I say, the young talent who comes in gets everyone off their feet, gets everyone on their feet, and he looks hungry. On the pitch, he wants the ball, he wants to attack. And in a side where, we've done all right at the start of this season, but going into that final third, we have just been missing that little bit of something. And in the games Elliot Anderson has come on, he's shown that. And that's why I really want to see more and more of him. Now, there's no doubt that Eddie Howe is taking his time with Elliot Anderson. He is a manager who does not like to throw players into the deep end, and he's probably right to do so. As I say, at 19 years old, we don't want to overdo it too early. We don't want to overplay these players. But that in this season where we have sometimes 3 games in a week, his role is going to feature more and more as we go on. Eddie Howe said that we are all delighted with Elliot's development. He's a natural talent, but he also has an excellent work ethic and always wants to learn. I know the supporters will be especially pleased to see another young local boy coming through the academy and into the first team. We are. Elliot has earned that chance, and he has set a great example to other young players. So there you go. Eddie Howe is obviously happy as well. As I say, in terms of manager to have, It's not a bad one. Not that Elliot Anderson needs any help developing. I'm sure he will continue to grow and grow, but Eddie Howe is a fantastic coach. You know, we've seen it with Shaw, we've seen it with Joe Linton, we've seen it with a number of players. You know, whether Anderson needs that help, we don't really know, because as I say, I think he is growing as he goes on his own. But to have any manager in there, Eddie Howe is going to really try and push this kid on, and I'm really excited to see what happens next. As I say, it will not surprise me, despite my eagerness to see more and more of Anderson in upcoming games, that Eddie Howe will continue to try and taper how much game time he's getting. Hopefully it will continue to go on, and he's versatile as well. He can play in multiple positions, and that's something else that's really helping us right now with a team who, you know, has a couple of spots that maybe could do with a little bit more backup. When you've got someone like Anderson who can slip in out of multiple positions, is going to be a real big help. And as I say, Dan Ashworth no doubt had a role to play in this one as well. Ashworth actually said, it was my aim. Oh, sorry, that was what Elliot Anderson said. Ashworth said, our strategy is not just about who we buy, it is also about who we have and how we nurture and develop our best young talents. It is crucial for the club and our academy to provide a pathway for young players and belief that it is that they are good enough and they will get an opportunity to play. So he's kind of going for two separate points there. I think one thing to mention is with the new long-term contract, Newcastle have been linked with a couple of youngsters coming through. For example, the youngster from over in Australia a couple of weeks or last week, you know, being linked with a £25,000 a week deal. I would have been surprised if Anderson was getting that on his old deal. So, you know, if we are going out and spending that money on some of these potential youngsters coming through, I think it's only right that Anderson, who is part of the first team squad, is getting first team football, should be rewarded not only for the long-term contract, but in the pay structure as well. So I think that's quite possibly a part of why we've gone out and done that. And secondly, Dan Ashworth makes a great point there, and we've spoken about this a little bit with some of the young players. The young lad from Kilmarnock were brought in, MacArthur. As I say, the youngster from Australia were being linked with. You know, fair enough, we have the money, and we can go out and we can buy new expensive players, but it's something to be said about bringing players through from the youth as well. And that's something that Dan Ashworth was brought in to do, not just buy new expensive players, but really improve the academy players, bring players up, bring players through. And as he said, to try and move these players up into the first team. And it is an example to give. We saw Arsenal field a 15-year-old lad in a game not the other day, which was pretty surreal. The new youngest player ever to play in the Premier League, which is mad. But there's two sides of that, because you are kind of potentially pushing him into the limelight at a really young age, really too soon. But it is also highlighting the pathway for everybody else on what you can achieve if you continue to play well and you continue to impress. And Elliot Anderson is a great example of that. He's shown how to rise up through the ranks, make his way into the team, and then be rewarded with a long-term deal. And now we want to try and see how far we can push him on in this team. So there is great news there. It's great for Anderson. I'm really interested to see how Eddie Howe continues to nurture that talent, how we continue to try and get him involved, try and get the best out of him. He's been great coming on off the bench, and I think if that's all he did, it would still be fantastic for us, because he brings that energy on off the bench. But I still want to see him start some games very, very soon. And Dan Ashworth, as I say, he is doing the things behind the scenes here. It's just as interesting to me sometimes on how the behind the scenes are working. You know, what's happening with the academy? Who we're bringing in? Who are we trying to raise up into the first team? And that's why you get excited about a young local lad. And I will say they've got some interviews with Anderson over on the Newcastle channel as well, so be sure to go and check them out. I've just been watching. He's obviously been here since a youngster, so it's great news for him, great news for the club. Let me know your thoughts on Elliot Anderson down in the comments below. Alright guys, thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you later.